Hello members, viewers, subscribers, lovers, haters. How you doing today? I got another old clip from Audits doing a citizen's arrest on a police officer for coercion or some nonsense like that. But this is one of his 34 whole videos he's got, and of course now he's in serious trouble. $100,000 bond between him and his 15-year older girlfriend than he is. I don't know if that's his mother or his girlfriend. He says it's his girlfriend. I don't know. I think it's his mom. But anyways, they got in a heap of trouble beating up a shop owner, and it's not looking good for them. Let's watch him in action. He's quite an action hero.
So he's under private person's arrest for 133225.
What's your last name?
For coercion and extortion of rights, and criminal conspiracy for coercion and extortion of rights with Officer Havey. It sounds like you don't know the laws that you're supposed to know and enforce. Hi. Just wondering if the sheriff's available.
He's not here right now. He's already gone for the day.
Okay. You might be able to. Could we get his business card by chance?
Yeah, of course. The best way to get a hold of the sheriff is to email him.
Okay.
He's very responsive.
He announced that he's not enforcing the mask order here.
Well, I don't want to comment on that because everybody interprets it. You're talking about his letter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody interprets his letter differently.
Wow.
So I think that's
he did a great job then, didn't he?
Excuse me?
He did a great job making himself clear.
Well,
That's his mom, girlfriend, chiming in case you were wondering who that other voice was.
I think if you read it...
Well, we read
it right before we came in.
Then it's a conversation that sounds like that you need to have with him. He's very responsive to talking to people, whether you agree with him or not.
We're just curious as to why he called it unconstitutional and yet commands his deputies to enforce it down the road at the courthouse.
Or even in this building. Weird.
Those are questions you need to ask him.
Okay. You should probably file a report
Since he
also.
wrote the letter, I don't want to speak for him.
That's fine. You should probably file a report also because you know of the discriminatory conduct and it's required by your department policy. Just to let you know.
I should file a report with...
Yes. It's required by your department policy, your non-discrimination policy that you signed when you were hired. You might want to read through it and then read his letter and then report the conduct that's unconstitutional, that he claims is unconstitutional, and then commands his deputies to enforce. Have a great day.
You can already see where this is going, where he stands politically on what's going on. I don't make any political statements at all, ever. Not going to happen. Don't ask. Anyway, I believe a private business or a city has a right to implement whatever they need to implement, and if you don't like it, you can take it up with the city council or whatever. It's that simple.
Courthouse. Look what we have here.
Hey. So, obviously, my son card in here, sitting on the door. You guys. We just have some questions regarding the statement you guys released saying that you're not enforcing masks yet.
But we are.
Oh, obviously you are, but the sheriff put out a statement saying he wasn't.
Said that you're not.
Yeah. And I've been instructed by the sheriff that everybody wears masks down here. So if you got any
That's odd.
questions,
He said it was unconstitutional and he knows it. Why would he suggest mandating or requiring everybody to wear something that he knows is unconstitutional?
He said it's unconstitutional, and then he told you to enforce it.
Yes, he did.
So under your department policies,
And the commissioners told me to enforce it too.
So under their department's policies and yours, none of you, as our employees, are supposed to follow unlawful orders.
Yeah.
That's coercion and extortion.
Okay. You need, sir, you either put a mask on or you gotta leave.
So now you're threatening me. You're
No,
threatening my rights.
I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you.
This is a public space, right? A public access, public accommodation. Go ahead and record. It's fine.
Okay, we're gonna record this.
Oh, that's fine.
We are too.
Normally I don't have to. That's what I've been instructed to do.
What was the first letter of your last name?
It's Havey. H-A-E-B-E. Allen. A-L-A-N.
Do you mind if we have your DPSST number as well?
12364.
12364. Cool. Okay.
Do you know what the first duties of a sheriff are?
I actually have it for you right here. That second one: arrest and commit all persons for breaches of the peace and public offense.
Yeah, I'm sure the deputy sheriff needs a refresher course from two morons with a camera, a mom and a boy, or a boyfriend, whatever he is. on what the sheriff's job is. Yeah, I'm sure you need to hear that from you two clowns.
So an unconstitutional act by a sheriff is a public offense. It's official misconduct. So you're actually required by your first duty of a sheriff to arrest your sheriff for instructing you to enforce the mask.
No, I want to get along here, okay?
Well,
We're not here to get along. We're here to ask some questions.
Because we have differences, you know.
So we're your bosses. You are employed by the people, by the county, which is run by the people. Your oath is to uphold the Constitution.
Can we talk out here, folks?
Sure.
If you feel I'm doing wrong,
Well, I don't feel that you're necessarily doing wrong on your own volition. I think your sheriff is doing wrong, and now that I'm giving you notice of that, you're required to act on it. So if you don't want to do wrong, you would be required to act on it according to law. That's a law, ORS 206-010. And if you don't want to act on it, then that places you in your criminal liability for conduct of another.
if you have a complaint about my conduct or what I'm doing,
I have a complaint about your sheriff's conduct.
go tell him.
Okay.
You know, go tell him.
But this also rests on you. You realize you're like a pillar of the community. People depend on you to stand up for their rights. And we're just watched. Dozens of kids got run down the road with masks on. They're literally jogging with masks on.
While you guys aren't enforcing it yet.
You're not protecting these children, and they're in your community. What do you think that's doing to them?
He's a lumberjack and he's okay. He sleeps all night and he works all day.
Traumatically. I mean, what do you think it's doing to their psyches as young children?
So here under coercion, which is a felony.
I don't know what coercion is.
So unlawfully use or abuse the person's position as a public servant by performing some act within or related to official duties, such as the first duty of a sheriff, arrest and commit all persons for breaches of the peace and public defense. So it would include the people ordering your sheriff to put out that order. So in the OHA rule that Kate Brown is using for this mask mandate policy, she cites 431A, 433, 413, and they're all public health laws. And 413 is the Oregon Health Authority chapter of ORS. Now 431.180, which is right here, says that nothing in 431.001 to 431.550 and 431.990 or any other public health law of this state shall be construed as authorizing the Oregon Health Authorities, chapter 413, or its representatives, or any local public health authority or its representatives, to interfere with in any manner with an individual's right to select the physician, physician's assistant, naturopathic physician, or nurse practitioner of the individual's choice or the individual's choice mode of treatment. So this is Article 1, Section 2 and 3 of the Oregon Constitution, codified into an Oregon statute law. This is the one that says, no law shall in any case whatever control the free exercise of religion and dictates of our own conscience. Now, when you signed up for your employment contract, you signed a non-discrimination policy. That's a requirement of this law right here, ORS 659A.375. That falls under contract law, under ORS Chapter 71, which is the Uniform Commercial Code, codified into Oregon law. That requires an obligation of good faith with your contract, which is what constructs your first duty of the sheriff. That obligation of good faith is what requires you to arrest and commit all persons for breaches of the peace and public defense.
If you're not sure what he's talking about, he's trying to get this deputy sheriff to place the sheriff under arrest for not doing his job, something like that. Anyway, that's how dim-witted this guy is. Anyway, let's watch the rest of it.
Violating our rights, which you signed a non-discrimination policy, claiming that you would uphold and protect. And that variation, that cannot be waived by variation or agreement.
You know, guys, it's my understanding.
Good faith performance.
It's my understanding that there's a meeting between the sheriff and the county council and the commissioners.
There doesn't need to be any meetings for you to perform the arrest with reasonable belief.
Well, I think I'm doing what I'm told.
Wow.
Part of the problem is everybody's doing what they're told, and that's actually not what you're told. This is what you're told. And your policy for your department, your sheriff's department, says that you're not to follow unlawful orders. So if they're telling you to do something that's wrong, you're supposed to arrest them. That's official misconduct.
Would you go up and talk to them?
Sure. Yeah. And we'd love to have you guys on our team and get this all the way. There's thousands of people waiting for this to happen.
Do you have the authority to arrest people,
I'm not
sir?
against you.
I can feel that. I can feel it.
Yeah, I am not against you. I'm not against you,
I am
man.
very glad that you've actually taken the time to hear me out and even read these.
I will hear you out.
We've been to 12 other sheriff's departments that are all claiming the same thing.
How are you treated?
Horribly.
Well, I won't do that.
They threatened me with arrest if I went back inside the courthouse without a mask.
That's the problem. If we had if we had official business in this courthouse and we needed to get in,
exercising our right to say no in a public accommodation such as a store, and then the police come and write us a criminal trespass ticket, we then have to go to the courthouse where you guys will then deprive our rights again and force us to wear a mask just to go defend ourselves for not wearing a mask, which is our right.
like if we had official business in here right now and we tried to get in without a mask because it's our right, what would you do if we tried to get in here without a mask? What would you do?
Okay, what would I do? I would do everything in my power to convince you to wear a mask.
And if it didn't work because
still coercion.
it's coercion. Do you understand that?
Well,
That's
you get it,
coercion.
I don't. You know.
But you would probably arrest us, would you?
Oh God, you know.
We're asking the question.
We're not trying to incriminate you at this point. We just want to know what
you say arrest. I mean, I would do anything not to.
But you would.
Would you touch us or write us a citation?
If I
This cop's got an awful lot of patience. He got a lot more patience than I would. I don't argue with people around and around in a circle all day. It's all going to be the same stuff over and over and over again. A YouTube lawyer thinks he knows the law better than anybody else does. Thinks he knows what the sheriff's job is better than he does. They just know everything. Of course, they're always getting arrested and thrown in jail, so maybe they're not as smart as they think they are.
got to, yes.
So then you would deprive our rights, is what you're saying?
Yes.
That's what
Because
it,
we have a right to public access, full and equal access. And if we have the right to say no, that means you can't take away our right to public access because those are both rights.
I just telling
You can't use
And you
one
don't
right
want to
against
go
the other.
arrest the real criminals, but you would arrest or cite us for
very,
practicing our
very
rights.
reluctantly, ma'am. Very reluctantly.
But you
That's
still would.
That's still committing a
Yeah.
crime, even when it's reluctantly.
Yes.
That's sad. I could cry right now.
If you
That's
can-
sad. You're not on our side. I'm sorry. We have to go.
Yeah, we'll go talk to the sheriff now.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Hib. So we are here with Deputy Habe. So I've already called dispatch to have an officer dispatched here to come and take you as you are under private person's arrest pursuant to 123.225
Okay.
for confessing to criminal conspiracy of coercion and extortion of rights on camera. There are many more charges that go along with it. Official misconduct, bribe receiving, criminal liability for conduct of another, criminal liability as an individual for corporate conduct, misuse of entrusted position, misuse of entrusted property, so a whole bunch of crimes. We tried telling you yesterday. So if you're not doing your job, you're stealing our money. Any other employer would fire anyone who was not doing their job that they were paying them to do. When you signed your employment contract that came with your non-discrimination policy, which you signed a receipt for, your signature indicates that you read, understand, and know what you're signing and will abide by those terms in that contract. It's part of your obligation of good faith. And you've failed to perform those duties, so you failed the good obligation of good faith of your contract, and you're in breach of contract.
Well, if you're placing me under arrest, I'd like to talk to an attorney.
That's fine. That's your right.
And no further questions. Thank you.
Sure. I'm going to go ahead and talk while you remain silent. It's fine if you want to remain silent. Enrolled House Bill 2929 requires that you guys report or stop misconduct as soon as you're aware of it, and we made you aware of it yesterday. So here we have Scherer versus Cohen, 41F946. We could go on and on quoting court decision after court decision. However, the Constitution itself answers our question. Can a government legally put restrictions on the rights of the American people?
I wonder if he's going to read this whole booklet of YouTube law that he got and he downloaded and printed out on paper and made a little notebook. He likes to wave that notebook around. He carries it everywhere he goes. If he doesn't have an answer, he'll look it up in that notebook. Because YouTube said so. Anyway.
Section 1983, when lawsuits are brought against federal officials, they must be brought against them in their individual capacity, not their official capacity. When federal officials perpetrate constitutional torts, they do so ultra vires, beyond the powers, and lose the shield of immunity. He confessed to criminal conspiracy of coercion and extortion of rights yesterday on camera. Should have been doing his job, enforcing and protecting our rights.
Well, he's got a challenging job, and go easy on him.
I signed the same contract at one point in my life, and I'm risking my life right now to still uphold that contract that is over. So, Deputy Havey here told us on video, as we're recording right now, yesterday, that he will take an unlawful order from your guys'... Oh, you are the sheriff.
I am the sheriff.
Perfect.
Stop out front to talk to you guys. You guys were already gone.
We were there for hours, man. We were there for hours waiting on you.
So when most people, except for me, because I'm retired, are working during the middle of a beautiful day, these two clowns have time to stand around in front of this place for hours trying to aggravate people and explain their version of the law nonsense to other people, trying to get the sheriff arrested, and the sheriff finally shows up in due course, made them stand there and wait for hours, but hey, whatever. Anyway, my understanding is he got his bail paid, 50 grand or 5,000 cash bond. She's still in jail because nobody's paying her bond. He's just going to leave her there. And the lady that owns a cookie shop, from what I've heard, she's making a fortune since this happened. She's got so many orders she can't keep up with them, online orders and stuff like that. I wish I could remember the name of the place. I'm sure it's in the last video that I did about this moron. But if you know it, you know, give him a call, see if you can give him some business. Light him up. Anyway, let's continue.
Exactly. I have other things to be doing.
So these are the...
Oh, you're good to go. Thank you. I'll talk to them.
These are the... You actually have to arrest him according to the first degree sheriff.
He can go. I'm going to talk to you guys. By the way, you guys are being recorded as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So these are all the Oregon Constitution sections you're violating right now.
Okay. How's that? It's like,
you gave Haiti the order to arrest or cite anyone who goes in there without a mask if they're resistant. He told me that you gave him the order.
See, you are wrong right there.
He told me yesterday that you gave him the order.
Deputy Havey is here to enforce the crime of trespass, just like you would with any other business in this county. If any other business, you walk over here so I can send my ID. If any other business in this county, every business has the right to make their own rules.
No, not when it comes to constitutional rights.
You are, sir.
Uh-oh, the sheriff tricked them with actually what they would be cited for, which is trespassing, which any place open to the public has a right to do at any time. There doesn't have to be any law broken. They can trespass you just because they don't like your smell. And that could be what happened here. They smelled you coming and they said, no, you can't come in. Who knows?
Every business in this county, every business in this state has the authority to make the rules. And if you choose not to abide by those rules, then you can either leave or you can be charged with trespass if you choose not to.
Interesting.
False unsworn statements right now?
I'm not, sir.
Well, so 659A.375 requires you to have a non-discrimination policy or an employment contract, which requires an obligation of good faith. And you were given notice of such 71-2020 when you signed your non-discrimination policy. In your non-discrimination policy, it tells you that if you discriminate or enforce discrimination, or even fail to do your duty to stop discrimination, you are guilty of coercion.
We're going to have to agree to disagree, sir.
That's what it says in your department policy.
We're going to have to agree to disagree.
This Audits is just mixing up a bunch of different statutes and saying this is law and that's law and this is law and this is law. And yeah, they're individually their policies, and every place has a right to have their own policies for their own property. Even if it's city property or state property, they have a right to make their own rules and regulations. That's the law. You can't mix a bunch of different things up and say, yeah, that's what this means. It's total nonsense.
So,
He's disagreeing with what his department policy says. So,
He's an lumberjack and he's okay. He sleeps all night and he works all day.
okay. The Board of County Commissioners are well within their rights to place rules on their places of business, which is...
and those rules have to be constitutional. That's why you have full and equal access protected by 659A.
So it sounds like we're just spinning our wheels at this point.
It sounds like you don't know the laws that you're supposed to know and enforce.
Okay.
That you
Well,
actually
if you
signed,
would like,
you signed a piece of paper saying you knew that.
If you would like, sir, you're welcome to type up your justifications. Like I would have to, if I was going to make an arrest, I would have to type up my justifications for that arrest, and I would have to submit.
And so a confession of confession of criminal conspiracy for coercion.
So please,
is satisfactory.
type up your justification, and then email it to me. I will make sure it gets to a judge. Or conversely, feel free to send it straight to the Department of Justice if you feel like we are violating that.
Okay,
Right.
and if I were to place you under private person's arrest right now, would you resist?
I would leave.
So you would resist.
What's your
Okay.
last name, sir?
So he's under private person's arrest for 133225
What's your last name?
for coercion and extortion of rights, and criminal conspiracy for coercion and extortion of rights with Officer Havey.
What's your last name?
So you're going
I'm
to
not
leave
one
and be a
of
fugitive?
Correct. But if you are going to submit to me a report of misconduct, I
too
want to know
late.
who it's coming from.
You'll get it without a report.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You have a great day, fugitive.
You too.
Well, the sheriff resisted arrest and walked away, so I don't know what's going to happen now. He's probably in big trouble with Audits and his mother-in-law, girlfriend, wife, sister, whatever she is. I believe he's 33 and she's like 59 or something like that. I don't know. Maybe she's only 50. Maybe she's 45. I don't know. She's much older than he is, though. She needed somebody to nurture, and she found this guy, and he was pliable. Anyway, hey, guess what tomorrow is? Tomorrow's the 9th of November. Earl David Warden has his pretrial hearing tomorrow, somewhere in the Houston area. I don't know exactly where it is. Some people do probably, but I don't, because I don't really care. I just want him to go to prison. Anyway, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. Bye. And I did cut a lot of it out. A lot of it I cut out because it was just fucking gobbledygook. Anyway, bye.